Ed gets my hands separated here, I want to pull the leg down. I want to turn my palm to face me. I want to step out 1, 2, like this. I want to staple that leg down and then step over, come out the back door. Now, that's a great escape, but people go to it a little too early because it should be a Hail Mary, and people use it a lot of times as their primary escape. So, what's up, guys? It's Eli here with Night Jiu-Jitsu. I'm here with my buddy Ed, and we are, I'm going to show you some armbar escapes today. I've shown a few of these in the past. I've got a few more details to upgrade this and hopefully better sound quality than that old video. Anyway, before we get started, if you like my videos, make sure you like, subscribe, share, do all the things, comment on all of it. I appreciate you guys watching very much. Let's start out with kind of a basic one here. These are all going to be fairly basic because they're going to be mostly from the top position. If Ed has somehow caught this armbar, first of all, don't get caught in an armbar, okay? So that's easy enough. But if you do wind up getting caught here, the main thing is, like, I have to get some kind of connection. I don't want to leave this open. Now, if he gets my grip broken, then we'll talk about that in a minute. But first, I want my free hand to come to the rescue here like this. Right? So whenever I do that, it can be S-grip or it can be just saving at the wrist here like this, but I want to pull it to safety here like this, and I want to get my elbow. If I can get my elbow underneath his bottom ankle, it's going to be a lot harder for him to finish now, because even if he were to get this arm free, I can still start to elevate that leg and I can off-balance him. So that's a really good little tip if you can get this here. So one of the first ones that I want to try to do is if I can get my elbow down there without wasting too much time, then I want to try to pry that leg up, and I'm going to put it between my own legs. So I'm going to circle to the outside, and I want to hook my outside leg over it. Next, though, as I don't want to take the chance of him popping my arm on the way out. So once I go to let go, I'm going to reach up and I'm going to grab his hooking arm so I can make enough space to pop my elbow to the inside. Now that my elbow is clear to the inside, I can continue to come up. Hopefully, I can come up to the outside of his legs like this, or if nothing else, just scramble back. Whatever is the case, anything is an upgrade as long as my arm's not getting broken still. Kind of one of the first lines of defense here is going to be trying to get my elbow to the inside if the grip is not deep enough. So what he has to do to make this functional is he has to get a good bite by my elbow. He has to keep my elbow tight, tucked by his hips, and not allow me to get that elbow to the inside. Because at any time that I can just pop the elbow to the inside, great, because it was shallow. But now it's so deep, I can't pop it to the inside, so I've got to push through to the other side. So another thing that I can look to do from here, since I can't necessarily get my elbow down from this position, I'm going to shoot like a rear naked choke here. And I want to shoot my outside hand to the back of his knee. Blade of my hand is here, and the blade of my other hand is in the bend of my elbow. And at that point here, I want to make sure that my legs are free. If he had a hold of my leg like a true spider web position, this is a problem, but I need to, as a preliminary piece of this, I need to start trying to use my other leg, start pushing and kicking my leg free until my knee is clear. Once my knee is clear, I'm going to walk my legs away from him first, and then I'm going to spin and scissor up to this top position here. Now, because I don't want to have to sit here and hold his weight and take the chance on being swept, I'm going to take my outside leg here, and I'm going to support it under his tailbone. So now the shin bone, my shin bone from foot to knee is supporting his lumbar. And I'm going to walk it up heel toe, heel toe, heel toe, so it continues to stack all that weight on him. And then when I feel like I'm safe, I'm going to push and I'm going to rip my arm free. So that's how one way I can defend using this kind of grip, which also works not starting from my back, but starting from inside the guard. If he were to throw an arm bar up from the guard, the same way. So I screwed around and he managed to get this. So again, if I can karate chop here, 1, and then 2, get on the inside of the leg, and then again post here, because this is my support beam. Because now if he tries to extend or sweep or anything from here, it's going to be virtually impossible because of that support. So now I keep walking up heel toe, and then I'm going to pull, rip free, and then try to bundle his legs and finish passing his. Sometimes you'll get caught in a leg tucked variation of an arm bar. So this version here, where depending on how the guy entered into it, he elects to keep his leg tucked here like this, which can still be dangerous, can still be a good finishing position from right here. So what I want to look to do from here, again, it's always kind of priority to rescue this other hand, and whether that's an S grip or gable grip or just a wrist grip here, they all can work, they're all effective. I just have to kind of be aware of what the liabilities are. So for that reason, I typically like S grip quite a bit because it's a harder grip to break sometimes than even the gable grip from this position, and it's definitely harder than this one is to break. So when we find ourselves in this kind of position here, right, I can do a variety of different escapes, but one that I like to try because the momentum a lot of time pulls me back is to try to hike my hips up, and I'm going to sit my butt on the inside of his leg here. So I'm going to act as if I'm going to do a backward somersault, but instead I'm going to flop on this leg here, this way. And as I do that, now when I come on top, I've beaten that top leg and I kind of took his hips out of alignment. So now my arm is essentially free. So one more time on this one, because it's a little quick to see, is when he's here, I have to remember what his energy is typically pulling me. So I'm going to use the pull of that energy. And again, I'm going to turn my hips away, lift, and I'm going to drop my butt or my small of my back on this knee here. So when I do that, here this way, and then it slingshots me up into a position like this. So it's a very effective one. It kind of takes him off guard too. He feels as if I'm going to do like a backward somersault, but instead of doing that, I just flop on that leg and I get myself out of alignment for his arm bar. I purposely left this one off till a little bit later because this is the one that people tend to use as a go-to, and I don't think it should be a go-to. I think this should be the Hail Mary, because what's happening on this one is that my arms are disconnected. I don't have my rescue arm in place pulling this back to safety. So what tends to happen is it's a little later stage, and so I'm taking a little bigger of a risk. And of course, I'm talking about the Hitchhiker Escape. So what happens on this one here is that Ed has caught this armbar position. He's got both legs over. He's pretty set and secure. But for me to execute this, I have to let this connection go, right? Which again, it's a very effective and useful technique to do. But why would I have this established and then let it go just to do this? That's why I consider this a Hail Mary. So what I want to do, like if he does have this separation happening, yeah, so he's got my wrist, I want to take my hand and I want to rotate it this way. So if my hand is palm away from me, I'm turning it palm toward me. So this is my John Cena hand here now, right? So now from that position, my second hand, since they're disconnected, is going to come to grab this top one. I want to get as deep of a grip as I can on his calf, and I want to start pulling it down toward my waist. As I do that, I'm kicking my legs out and away from me. So this first leg here is going to kick out roughly in line with his spine. I rotate the hand this way here, and then I'm going to kick over this direction here with this one. So even if he's still hanging on, like here, even with his legs or whatever, it still is not going to stop me a lot of the time from coming around the corner. Now, it's important that as I rotate out, I don't just sit back up and give him a triangle opportunity. So instead, once I come back up, I'm keeping my ear to his hip, and I want to chase the back over here this way, so that I make sure that I'm not sitting up into a triangle, and if I'm lucky, then on the back end I get the guard pass out of it. So one more time, the details of this Hitchhiker Escape. If he has me here and he causes separation, so I wasn't able to get the rescue, this hand immediately needs to go back to pull this first hand off of my neck, and then I'm going to rotate this palm to face me, and I want to continue driving and spiraling out this direction. Once I come to the top here like this, if I can pin the bottom leg and then I get my ear on top of his top leg here this way, it's going to kind of ensure a little bit better that he's not able to square back up, reestablish the armbar position, or throw up a triangle. And then from there, I'm sitting through and I'm coming up to finish in this top side, possibly back exposed position here. So that's a really good move if I can pull that off. Right. So this is important to remember from a defensive standpoint, is what on the offense, what this guy up here is trying to do. So whenever I said there's liabilities to any kind of grip that you have, and the reason I like the S grip is that if he S grips his hands, now all the fingers are kind of connected, so it's a little harder. Even though he doesn't have all the fingers, it's still harder for me to break this open. Whereas if he has a gable grip, sometimes this, if I can smush his elbows together, it'll disconnect the grip easier. So that's one of the things that doesn't necessarily happen as bad with S grip. If he just brings this one in to rescue this hand here, then sometimes it leaves this one exposed for like a wrist lock here like this, and then that's going to cause separation if it doesn't actually get the tap on its own. So those are some of the things that this guy in the spiderweb position may be trying to do to finish these out. So it's something important for you as the defender to keep in mind. That's why I said, once the hands rescue each other, dropping this elbow below this leg here makes it more difficult, and now my leg is exposed for him to start escaping like that. Or if he can at least keep my ankles from crossing one way or another, which is perfectly fine in an arm bar, especially when both hands are on the inside like this here. So as long as you're thinking about deconstructing the offense to establish what your defense is going to be, then you're kind of taking the right steps, and it's going to simultaneously improve your offense and your defense. Other little things to kind of keep in mind too, whichever arm is through here or here is going to help determine like which way you're going to be able to roll. So in the case of whenever I showed earlier, showed the roll up to the guard position, that works better from this position here than it does necessarily from this position where I can counter lever a little bit better. So you kind of have to take that into consideration too. So there's a lot of things from this position that you have to mechanically kind of keep in mind, and that's why drilling this over and over again and repping it out to see what problematic sources kind of come up is really valuable for you. So those are some helpful techniques, but keep in mind that the technique should be the delivery vehicle for the principle. And the principle behind these things, it should kind of determine what my orientation is, depending on how he's attacking, how I got myself into this position, what kind of timeline I have to be able to escape it. So it's always a good idea to reverse engineer the offense to come up with a solid defense and vice versa. I've got a whole instructional at BJJ Fanatics on that topic, like Ed just reminded me. It's mainly about chokes, but it does talk about the concept of how to build your own defenses based on how you deconstruct the offensive maneuvers of how they got into the technique. So I appreciate you helping me out, brother. Make sure you check out Ed over at Metrolina Martial Arts on all the socials. And yeah, appreciate you guys watching the video. So like, subscribe, share, do all those things. Thanks a lot, guys.